And now on the Business RadioX network, another exciting episode with Jamie Ep12 in Connecting Tucson with Jamie.
All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Connecting Tucson with Jamie Overturf. Today we're coming to you from a bit of a unique area. We are at the inaugural Arizona Film Expo at the Tucson Convention Center, so please forgive our background noise if you do hear it. We are with Connecting Tucson with Jamie Overturf, where we focus on connecting our community and our local businesses. Today we have a very special guest in our studio, Phillip Sullivan. Phillip is the Commercial Banking Officer of Canyon Community Bank here in Tucson, Arizona. Phillip is a native to Tucson, Arizona, or actually not Tucson, you are a native to Arizona. You relocated to Tucson 11 years ago to attend our very own University of Arizona and study psychology, and you've been here ever since. Phil is been in the banking industry for over 8 years and has had many different roles in this industry. Recently, he just celebrated his 10-year anniversary with his wife, Nicole, and 3 beautiful children, Tayton, Lennon, and McCartney. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so congratulations on your 10-year anniversary.
It's really exciting.
And thank you for coming on my show.
Cool.
I really appreciate you
Thank you for having me.
on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So first off, I used Phillip and Phil. Do you prefer Phil or
Phil's
Phillip?
fine. It really
Phil.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure. So we're just going to jump right in. Is that okay, Phil?
Sounds awesome.
So let's start off with an easy question.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure. So I'm Phillip Sullivan. I've been in banking for a while, and as far as a little bit about me, I love helping people. That's why I got into banking originally, and I spend most of my off time doing really nerdy things with my kids.
So nerdy? What's nerdy?
Like going to Phoenix Comic-Con was a lot of fun. My son.
My eyes just lit up. You couldn't see it, but my eyes lit up. That's why he's laughing. Comic-Con.
Yeah, so my son, for his birthday, his birthday happens to be on December 31st, and because where it's proximity to Christmas, you can only get so much stuff. And so we asked him what he wanted to do as kind of like an experience kind of thing for his birthday, and he's like, I just want to go to Comic-Con. And so we planned for it. It was in May, and we let him pick out 2 costumes that he wanted to make, and so we made 2 separate costumes for him, and we went on Saturday and Sunday, and it was just
So you made costumes. What costumes did you make?
So my son is a small little platinum blonde haired kid, so he went as Link from The Legend of Zelda, which was a ton of fun, and so we made sword and shield and boots and a bunch of other stuff. It was really cool. Goodwill is just the best when it comes to that kind of stuff. But and then it was another character from an anime that I don't even know, and that just kind of tells
so
you.
he's into anime too.
He very much is, yeah.
Excellent. So is he kind of like a Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory?
I wish I could get him into that much like science and technology.
Okay.
But he definitely he's definitely on that.
Well, he's young enough. You might be able to push him or sway him into that.
I'm hoping so, yes.
All right. So you didn't always want to be a banker. At least that's the way I envision it. You started off studying psychology, which is nowhere really near the banking field. So I assume becoming a commercial banker was not at the top of your list.
It was not.
How did that happen?
It's funny enough. You have moments in your life where something happens and you kind of think it happens for a reason, My pivot moment was my junior year at the university. I took a consumers, families, and finance class. At the time, I was married. I had 2 kids, and the subject matter of saving for retirement and saving for
that's
retirement.
The expo.
Yeah. Saving for retirement, setting a budget, the cost of credit over a lifetime. Those are things that mattered to me in my everyday life at that moment. Now, a lot of the other, kids or students rather, they were just, taking the class, digesting the information. But for me, it had real world applications. And I just kind of thought to myself, like, why did I have to pay to get into college? Happened to register for the right class just to get this information, because this kind of stuff wasn't taught to me in high school, and that's just not something my parents really spent a lot of time with me on. And so I was just like, I thought if I'm going to have a job, because I worked full-time through college, I'd like to have a job where I could teach this kind of same stuff to people, and banking kind of fell along with that. Yeah.
I think today that is actually what's missing in our schools. They don't teach what I call common sense.
No.
to students, for example, how to balance a budget, how to save for things that you want,
Sure.
how to write a check, sometimes how to address an envelope is something as small as that. And yes, I have a 16-year-old, so I know how this comes across, but
Sure.
it's a lot of times, they don't find out until they're in college and they're spending, I got my first credit card, and now they're spending, and they don't realize the impact. I think that is so.
Yeah, thankfully, state of Arizona actually just passed a law in the most recent session requiring financial education as part of a high school curriculum. So it just passed.
I was going to say, when did that happen?
Like 4 or 5 months ago.
Oh, see, I'm a little behind. It probably won't happen for my son, but I'm so happy for all of the other kids.
I'm super, super excited. It's something that I do a lot of financial literacy stuff. When I was the branch manager a few years back in Sonoyta, in the middle of nowhere, I did presentations to the Patagonia High School out there. Just, if you can reach a couple kids and kind of set them straight at 18, then it makes the rest of their life just a heck of a lot easier.
And I also find that so many students, when they go into college, they're thinking they're going to go one way, right? And then you have that one moment that just sparks you into a completely different direction.
Correct.
And that class, was that for you, the family and finance class? Is that what that was?
That was it. Yeah, because and I was a stubborn kid, and I happened to be in the honors college, and so I got to take a lot of my primary coursework in the first 2 years.
Oh, nice.
And so when I had that spark moment, it was already too late to change my major.
Oh, no.
So I kind of did a thematic minor and added some economics classes and stuff on there. But yeah,
well, psychology can help you in business too. You can read people.
Help,
you can kind of get the feel for them, I guess.
I would love to think that I got some sort of benefit from it. I really hope that I did. If not, it was a very, very expensive 3 years.
Well, you're doing good now, and you're helping people, so that's good. So it is safe to say you took a plunge into the unknown, but knew you'd kind of found your calling.
Yeah.
You spoke to me of it was the 3 buckets.
Yeah.
What are those 3 buckets that give that perfect career?
So the 3 buckets is something that you love to do, something that the world needs. Actually, 4 buckets.
Oh,
It's
4.
So
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I misspoke. 4.
So it's a Japanese concept called ikigai, and I'm just obsessed with it right now. And when I'm not helping businesses finance their growth or what have you, I spend some time with friends and family and friends of friends trying to do career coaching and help them find something, because I'm all too aware of what a miserable job or a miserable career can have stress. But the 4 buckets, to get to it, is it's something that you're good at, something you can get paid for, something that the world needs, and something that you love doing.
Right.
So if you can find all 4 in something, it's really awesome. But a lot of times you can't, so you try and find 3 or 4. But yeah, I'm just obsessed with it. And I think that we all have a best version of ourselves, right? Where you're doing something that makes you feel fulfilled, and that you don't have to worry about, the next meal that's going to come up on the table, and also something that, again, makes your community better. So I'm lucky. I have found something that fills a few of my buckets. So
that's great. And we're going to come back to those.
Sure.
What's it called again?
Ikigai. It's
Okay.
spelled Ikigai.
Okay, I won't remember that, but ikigai. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you did.
Ikigai. Okay.
Ikigai, yeah.
Ikigai. I have to do it phonetically,
No,
or
you're
however
good.
that is. Phonetically, not phonetically. So hitting all of those can sometimes be hard, like you said, but to me, if you do find that true calling for you, it just makes you so much more fulfilled,
Sure.
and you can help others moving forward. And I can honestly say I think I found that bucket in what I do,
Cool. That's awesome.
because I love to help people. I have a need, and insurance is never going to go away, unfortunately, because it's going to be required.
Always risk.
And I love doing it, and not that I love actual insurance, but I love being able to help people understand the insurance and
sure.
how it can benefit them and what they can use. So
100%. I mean, I'm not. I don't get up in the morning saying, you know what, who am I going to give money to today?
well, me, you can give money to me anytime you want.
It's more of how can a loan or how can a new relationship help a business maybe take it to the next level. Maybe when I used to do it on the personal side of things, it's like, okay, well, how can I help a family set a budget so that they can put more away so they can send one of their kids to college? Now it's more, how can I finance an expansion so that they can create 3 or 4 new jobs so that they can help 3 or 4 families.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a very, very wonderful opportunity.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the banking industry itself. There are so many different types of banks out there, from not just your typical brick and mortar banks. I know Citibank's come out with one that's like that fun bank, and then there's a financial institution and credit unions. And what exactly is a community bank?
So a community bank is generally a local bank restricted to a certain geographical area. That is, by its charter, supposed to fulfill and serve the needs of the community that it exists in. Because of this, we're held to certain regulatory standards that a certain percentage of our clients need to be within the Tucson area, a certain amount of the loans that we make need to be within the Tucson area. So it really, our purpose is supposed to be to fulfill the needs and to serve the community that we're in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are all community banks the same?
I mean, it really just depends upon what the focus is, right?
So do they have different focuses?
Sure,
then, is
sure.
basically so.
So here at Canyon, so we're a community commercial bank. So
Okay.
so we focus specifically on the needs of businesses and their needs and supporting local businesses, as opposed to, you may, depending upon what the focus of your community bank is, you may want to focus on institutional. Some community banks are set up just to serve, like credit unions and they used to have a TMC employees credit union. That
Okay.
was a bank or a credit union just set up to serve the needs of the employees of one large employer. Or you might have one that's just not really interested in doing a lot of business loans or business activity and more focused on consumer and general deposit accounts and auto loans and home equities and mortgages and stuff like that. So
I
it
never
just-
really knew there were so many banks out there.
There are, Jamie. There are so many banks.
So, I mean, I know the big ones, like the Wells Fargos and the Chase, and I've seen the credit unions. I knew they were a little bit different, but I
Yeah.
didn't realize a community bank focused specifically on a geographic area or even a specific niche.
Yeah.
So you don't do any personal banking at Canyon
So we
Community
do
Bank?
personal banking, so
Okay.
and mostly just to serve the needs of the business owners. So
Okay.
yeah, because you wouldn't want to have a business owner say, you know what, I want to bank my business here. Where can I tell my employees to go bank? And you're
So,
like,
yeah.
well, send them down the street.
Yeah, no. So let me back up then.
Sure.
So if the business is with you, then yeah, you'll set up. But let's just say they don't have a business or not an employee of a business that you do. Do you do a personal bank that way?
Yeah, so we will bank those customers. However, we try and be more of a relationship bank. And so
Okay.
if, we definitely, if for those customers looking for like a local alternative, we definitely do deposits and offer services for that. But when it comes to lending, when they want to do a car loan or they want to do a personal loan or a home equity, we're unable to offer those services. So we have partnered with other local organizations that have other niches outside of ours, and so we can kind of pass business back and forth.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
sweet.
so it's all about there's more than enough business to go around. So
Absolutely. So with that being said, I guess what products and services does Canyon Community Bank offer?
yeah, so our primary thing that we do is commercial lending. So we offer commercial loans, commercial lines of credit. We also offer treasury management services like cash shipments. We offer all sorts of business deposits, as well as like remote capture. Pretty much anything that a business is going to need, we've invested in the technology and the services to be able to handle that, whether it's, deposits being picked up at your place of business or buying a new building or doing a line of credit to get you through that kind of seasonality with your business. We can handle it all.
That is awesome. So because you do kind of such a specific niche banking, what would your ideal client look like?
So our ideal client is probably someone who's been in business for a couple years. We do help startups, but it's sometimes a testy proposition. But I'd say someone who's been in business a couple years, someone who has a lending need. Generally, that's our biggest value add, that we can be competitive when it comes to the loan that they're trying to get. Or honestly, someone who's just tired of being a number. When
Okay.
it comes to a business,
Because I know I'm tired of being a number too.
So I honestly, when it comes down to it, we don't have an 800 number. We don't have, kind of this outsourced call center. When you call our main branch on Oracle McGee, you're going to get Cody, our branch manager.
That's refreshing.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And
Maybe not for Cody, but that's refreshing.
Poor Cody, he gets all of it. But when you have a problem, when you're running into an issue, it's not, hey, who do I need to track down at the bank? that has the position now, or what game of musical chairs has led to me now assigned to this new person, right? The people that you bank with, and that's really what we bring.
So how long have you been at Canyon Community Bank?
So I've been Canyon Community Bank for about 5 months. Prior to that, I was the business banking officer. I'm not exactly what the title was there, but at National Bank of Arizona.
Okay.
So I was with them for about 4 years prior to. That's where I mentioned I was the branch manager out in Sonoyta in the middle of nowhere. So I was with them as a branch manager and then as a business banker.
Okay.
Yeah.
So safe to say you've kind of done a gamut of banking arenas. So if somebody were to call Canyon Community Bank and say, hey, I need a loan, I work for a business, would they get you? Would they get Cody? How does that work?
They would get me. So they would say, hey, I'm interested in getting a loan. And they would say, oh, well, then you need to talk to Phillip because he's our loans guy.
Okay.
So we're small enough that all of the business loans for the organization flow through me. So one thing that that I like to do when someone calls in saying, hey, I need a loan, well, let's talk through and see if you actually need a loan. One thing that I have earned more clients than lost, I would say, is taking a look and seeing, does this make financial sense for you? Because a lot of times I had a couple in that they were looking to start up their own business, and could I have gotten a loan for them done? Probably. I could have figured some way to get it out. But I did not think it was the right thing for them at the time. And that's one thing that's really important. And no matter where you bank, whether it's a community bank or a larger bank, you need to have someone that has your best interest at heart, and someone that can tell you, even when it's at a financial disincentive for them, hey, you shouldn't do this, or hey, I'd wait a little bit longer. And so that's one thing that I like to bring. Give them a little bit of truth.
Okay. So let me ask you that. I mean, so if they don't get the loan, how do you continue to keep track with them? What is it that you do?
So generally what I like to do is, in the event that we're not able to do a loan, because a lot of times what I like to do is make sure we can get the loan done first before we're opening up deposit relationships. Mm-hmm. Just because there's nothing worse than moving banks, and there's nothing worse than moving banks. If you've just moved banks and now you have to move banks again to get a loan,
Right.
So I always, we wait until we're at the 1 or 2 yard line before we start opening up deposit accounts with a new relationship, of course. Okay. I like to give a prescription. I'm not going to be able to say yes to everything. Any bank who said yes to everything would quickly go out of business. But when I can't do the loan, I like to try and give a good reasoning for it, and give them a prescription as to, hey, these are the things that are preventing me from doing the loan right now. Why don't we address this, X, Y, and Z over the next 6 months to a year? Let's take a look back and see if it's something that we can do in the future. And most of my loan referrals, we do get some people that call into the bank because they Google community bank, and Canyon is what shows up if you're in Tucson. But a lot of people are for referrals. And one thing that's very important to me is taking care of referral partners. If they're going to trust their clients with you, then you need to make sure that you deliver on them. And even if it's a no can be handled in a way that it's constructive and it can lead to future growth.
That is so true. I 100% agree with that. And I know we had spoken earlier, you actually sometimes think outside of the box when it comes to loans. You can work with those businesses that may not be able to get the conventional loan. Oh, yeah. Let's just use my business for an example. I mean, for example, as a insurance and financial advisor, I'm on 100% commission base, and it's hard to go out there and get a traditional loan. Sometimes banks just don't get it. They don't know that, okay, well, I'm not a W-2 employee. I'm self-employed, A, and B, I'm 100% commission.
Of course.
So it's one of those. You have solutions for those types of businesses.
So, I mean, I can't say all of them.
Right.
But definitely, so what I try to do is, look, if there's a competent business owner who has a proven track record of success in down markets, then we can get a little bit more creative in how we structure these loans, so that it makes sense for the bank, but also that it makes sense for the borrower. Too many examples to come up, and every situation is a little bit different. But I would say the most important thing to us at Canyon is history and competent management.
Right, and you have flexibility to do some things other than your brick and mortar,
we're not
large ones.
I can tell you that as I worked for larger institutions, it would there's nothing worse than really believing in a client and sending it off to some loan decisioning department in San Antonio or Salt Lake City or wherever, and then
tough.
someone in some faceless bureaucracy tells you, oh no, you can't do that loan. One thing that I do really love at Canyon, and what brought me here originally, was the leadership team is in town.
I was just about to ask
Yeah.
that, but you got to it beforehand.
sorry.
So your decision makers aren't off somewhere out of
no.
state. They're here in our community. They're our local community people.
Absolutely. Yeah, so our CEO, George Samopoulos, and our market president, El Nadoy, we all sit down whenever we get a new deal and we say, hey, does this make sense? Can we find a way to a yes on this one? And more often than not, if we can't give you a yes, really immediately, we can at least say, hey, we have an appetite for this. Or maybe, no, we don't. And sometimes a quick no is just as valuable as a long yes.
Yeah, you're not wasting a business owner's
Correct.
time or anything. So true. So very interesting. You take a completely unique approach to businesses and helping our community, which we will dive more into shortly. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Connecting Tucson with Jamie Overturf and Farmers Insurance, where we focus on connecting our community and local businesses here. As your local insurance professional for professional and commercial lines insurance needs, and a small business owner, I know how important it is to make new and lasting connections in our own community, right in our backyard. You never know how a connection will create a spark or pull you in a direction where you're not even thinking of going. If you are a small business owner or involved in a community project and you would like to be featured on the show, please feel free to give me a call. All of my information is on TucsonBusinessRadioX.com, and I would love to hear from you. Today, we are coming to you from the Tucson Convention Center doing the inaugural Arizona Film Expo. And we are talking to Phillip Sullivan, who is the Commercial Banking Officer of Canyon Community Bank, a unique bank helping local businesses grow and thrive. If you're a small business owner looking for someone to help you understand your finances or just need a little help to get you to the next level, check them out. Phillip, just before the show break, we were talking about how Canyon Community Bank helps local communities. Specifically, why do you think that Canyon Community Bank helps local communities, and what are they doing to, I guess, further our growth and expansion?
Sure. So, I mean, part of the growth that we look to help finance is businesses that are existing and already doing well.
Okay.
So we have, a client that we're just looking at putting a loan together right now. But he, in 2017, purchased his own location after 11 years of renting. Purchased his own location. He's doing great, and now he wants to expand to a second location, and we're going to help him do that. It's really exciting. It's about creating growth and helping business owners chase what they need.
Okay, well, that is wonderful. So just so you know, I did my homework prior to this show. I checked y'all out.
Sounds good.
And I actually talked to several business owners about Canyon Community Bank, and many actually had not heard about you. In fact, many just thought you were a typical community bank, maybe focused more on personal,
Sure.
and were shocked that you deal mainly with businesses and small businesses, helping them. It seems like maybe it's a misconception. Are there any other misconceptions out there about your bank itself?
I would say that's the biggest one that we need to address. You know what's funny is if you drive by on Oracle and McGee, there's a sign that says Canyon Community Bank, and right below it says commercial loans, and it has been there since I moved to Tucson. So I'm not.
I think it's in too
entirely
small of a print. We might need to,
We need to get a few banners. That's what we need.
just banners everywhere and doing it that way. 100% agree. Are there any other misconceptions that you may be trying to address?
I mean, exposure is our biggest thing. And we're not going to be the bank for everybody, but we want to try and be the bank for a boutique set of business owners where we can help them finance. As far as, what the misconceptions, I would say we need conceptions first before we can be misconceptions. Right now, we've been such a relatively small part of the community. We want to try and grow our presence, and that's why I came over from National Bank is really I want to start and put my hand on something and help it grow.
Excellent. So you're going to help them grow. What is Canyon Community Bank doing to get the word out there that you are a commercial bank?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
So part of it is a partnership with local organizations. I am on the membership committee for Tucson Young Professionals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a really cool organization that tries to get young professionals to choose to stay in Tucson. as opposed we have a
that is so good.
Yeah,
Keeping the young here.
yeah.
And yes.
So it's about keeping those college graduates, showing that there's opportunity and culture here in Tucson, and showing them a reason to stay. So I'm part of that. I'm also part of a few networking organizations. I also we partner with the SBDC. So we go there and they have their lenders roundtable and we communicate. But also mostly it's been they really just haven't had someone out there, and that's what I was hired for, to bring in and really get out there and let people know what we're doing. Between myself and then Nadoy, who is our market president, he's been a staple in the Oro Valley community for years and years and years and years, and his name carries weight in a lot of those Oro Valley communities. So we've been brought over to try and say, you know what, we're here, we're serious, we're open for business.
Do you guys have any type of like Facebook presence or perhaps other social media presence? Are you working on that?
My thing
I
is
didn't see it.
We totally do. I think we have like 119 followers or something like that.
Okay. Could use some work, but we're good.
It totally could. I think that the plan is let's start getting some business generated, and then that will kind of lead to some more stuff. But yeah, as I understand it, we've recently worked our website, and we have a LinkedIn and a Facebook presence. I know it's definitely not our main push right now. The main push is, hey, let's get Phillip in front of as many people as we can. So
love it.
I'm
here you are.
I'm not opposed to it.
Okay. Well, you can count me in, and Tucson Business RadioX, spreading the word. We love, especially connecting Tucson. It's part of our culture to try to let people know what's going on in the heartbeat of the Tucson area. And I really love that you're a member of the Tucson Young Professionals, trying to keep our young professionals here, showing that there's opportunity for growth, that, you don't have to go up to Phoenix, or you don't have to go over to, Texas or California. You can have a professional career here, and you can start your own business, and you can keep thriving and just keep that blood and pulse beating in Tucson, which I think is huge.
It is such a cool organization. I stumbled upon it about 6 to 8 months ago, and I've just been very, very lucky to be a part of the different events that they have going on, including, I think, the executive director, Zach Yenser, was part of this 10 West thing that's going on here today. Yeah, so he was here yesterday, I believe.
Nice.
So it's really cool. Tucson Young Professionals, if you haven't, I think they want me to say Tucson Young Professionals instead of TYP.
Okay.
But it's a really cool organization, and if you're interested in, check it out.
We can definitely do that too. Well, we spoke of your ideal client earlier, and we kind of have an idea of what that looks like. But what does success look like for Phil and Canyon Community Bank?
Oh, that's a very good question. So honestly, I track because I am a kind of guy. I figured out very early on that one thing that just motivates me and gets me up in the morning is closing the deal. Right.
Okay.
That's just something that's always been kind of ingrained in me, and I've been very fortunate that I've had some success. But I'd say what success looks like to me is a referral from a client.
That's great.
Yeah, because if you've done your job well enough that someone is willing to say, hey, go talk to this guy, then I feel like you can count that as a success. And my kind of philosophy, ever since I got into banking as a personal banker in a grocery store, that's where I started out.
Hey, don't knock it.
Hey, I put in my time. Yeah.
Yep.
But was do a good job. Tell your customers, hey, if I've done a good job, send me a referral, and do a good job for the people that come in. If you just follow that formula, it's really not that complicated. People, they flock to competency, and they flock to results. And so if you just do a good job, the rest takes care of itself.
I 100% agree with you. One of my favorite sayings is, if I helped you and you felt that I helped you do what you needed to in your business, helped you understand, helped you save money, whatever it is,
Sure.
if you thought I did a great job, the best thing that you could do for me would to be give me a referral. That is the best compliment in the world that you can give me. That means you're trusting your friends, your family, colleagues to say, hey, this person did a great job. You need to go there.
Yep.
And to me, that is the biggest compliment anybody can give me.
I couldn't agree more. And then one thing that really works for us specifically is industry. When when you do and I'm just going to make something up here, but if you were to have a dentist and you crushed it with that dentist and got everything, ahead of schedule and under budget, right?
Right.
He has a community of dentists or other professionals, and he's gonna go and rant and rave about how amazing you are. And that's how try not to get into too much customer concentration, but industry professionals talk to each other, and it's really important as a person who specializes in managing business relationships to say, look, when you go to your trade organizations, when you have meetings with people that you've known in the business for a while, give them my card. And I've had some success with that, so can't complain.
That is great. So that being said, though, I know we get a lot of referrals and everything. There are so many different banks in our local community alone, right? I mean, I could throw a rock and probably hit 6 while I'm sitting here.
That is probably true.
Why should businesses and people use Canyon Community Bank? What sets you apart?
I would say what sets us apart is the local decision making. And also the fact that you're
That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I've worked for large institutions. Canyon is by far the smallest institution I've ever worked for. And I can't tell you how many times I got a call from someone in Phoenix or someone in Denver or someone that said, whether I was an account manager or a branch manager, that told me I had to close an account, or I couldn't do a loan, or, and I wasn't involved in the decision making at all. I wasn't involved in that process, and I had no one to plead my case to. At the end of the day, I represent my clients. I am their advocate. I am their kind of guide in how best to finance their business and how best to manage their banking relationship. And if I have no say at the table, then it kind of ties my hands. At Canyon Community, we are deciding who we want to do business with and who we do not want to do business with. And I cannot tell you how invaluable it is that I don't have to worry about a faceless bureaucracy telling me who I can and cannot do business with.
That actually, and it also puts some merit to what you're saying, because you have skin in the game, right?
I totally do.
So let's just put it hey, you don't have, you can't brush it off. Oh, it's someone off in Texas.
Yeah.
No, your decision makers are here. You have skin in the game, so you have to be able to come back, and you have a lot of merit when it comes that way.
Of course, and one thing that, look, when there's bad news, I'm the guy who calls and tells them.
You're their face.
And, I don't take that lightly, but when I got to say, at Canyon, I am very fortunate, because if there's a reason that I have to give bad news, I have enough ammunition. Well, I guess ammunition may not be the right word, but I have enough information to explain to my clients, hey, this is why I can't do this. These are the things that I need to change. I have had conversations with the decision makers about this matter. This is what we need to address going forward, or these are the things that we need to see change. And it's we call it a collaborative approach to banking. And if we have something that, if we need to, sit down with a client and say, hey, maybe this doesn't work for us, but let's, have a meeting and let's get all the decision makers in a room and really come together and find a solution. That is something that I was never in a million years able to do with any of my other financial institutions.
Well, it surely sounds like you are having fun at Canyon Community Bank and you love what you're doing. So you talked earlier about walking through businesses actually helping figure out their finances, or even if they do need a loan. Running your own business, it's hard work, I should know. Not everyone's prepared for the time, the money, the connections it takes to actually run a business, and so many of them fail within the first 2 years. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, of course.
How does Canyon Community Bank and you help them to maybe financially and mentally prepare for entrepreneurship or just running a business in general?
Sure. So, I would say if you're a startup and you're getting ready to start a new business, you should always be having a conversation with a banker. Just say, hey, is financing the right path? Should I, what information do I need to be looking out for? And we have seen all types of successful businesses, and so we can give you the best tools and tricks. Another thing is that we can be another set of eyes, or maybe be a little bit more analytical when it comes to things. You should always have a good banker on your side. The other thing is use your community resources. There are plenty of things within Tucson. Tucson's a really cool town. There are plenty of things within Tucson. Specifically, there is a SBA seminar that I participate in every quarter that's about financing your business with SBA loans. I participate in that with SCORE of Southern Arizona, along with the SBA the SBA office in Southern Arizona, and then they have the Small Business Development Center run through Pima Community College. All great resources that I would really, really, really recommend before anyone starts to think about opening a business, or I always admired business owners because at a certain point you had to say, I'm not getting a paycheck next week, and I'm going to go do this thing.
Years, actually. I'm not going to have a paycheck for a year. Joking.
I've had to explain that to clients before. But there's so many good resources within it. A good banker is always necessary. SCORE of Southern Arizona is really great, along with the Small Business Development Center run through Pima Community College.
Do you ever go through that, what was that thing that you talked to me about? Hold on a second. I'll have it. The Ikigai. Right? Ikigai. Yeah. Do you walk them through, like any entrepreneurs? Do you say, is that something that you kind of work with?
Normally, what I like to do, because I try not to get too
in the weeds
with them, but I say, why this business, why you, and why now?
Okay, those are good questions.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, we really want to understand is what is going to drive this business to success. And part of it is opportunity, part of it is your grit, and part of it is the market that you're walking into, right? And so why you, why this, why now, is something that I ask every business owner, and actually sometimes even established business owners. I say, hey, why are you in this business? Before I make a loan, before I'm taking on a commitment, I say, what gets you up in the morning about this business? What makes you passionate about this? I think it's important to know that. But yeah, I mean, I try not to do the Ikigai thing, because if they've already devoted their lives to that kind of thing, maybe I'm not the one to be questioning it. But,
hey, you never know. Sometimes people need to be questioned. So let's ask you this. Why this business? Why now for you?
Yeah, that's totally cool. It is a unique business where I am able to sit down with business owners and help them be successful. And
simple and to the point.
Yeah, there's a lot of businesses that you can do that, but a good banker, is a really trusted position within someone's kind of financial hierarchy. And I know when I've earned the right to talk to my customers about their finances, my words are heeded. Which is important to me, because there's nothing worse than giving someone advice and then having them go in the complete opposite direction. And you're like, no, just listen, I promise. But well, I for one love to see people succeed, and if I can be the one to help them do that, it's pretty great.
So I think you just kind of answered my last question that I usually ask people at the very end. Usually my last question is well, you clearly love what you're doing. Helping small business and communities and people in general seem to be at the top of your list. But what excites you most about going to work each day? And I know you just kind of answered it, but like if you had to pick that little cherry on top, what excites you? What is like, I got up today to do this? So
one thing that I really, really love specifically about what I do at Canyon Community Bank is understanding people's business models. And because everyone's a little bit different, everyone has a different widget they're selling everyone. And in order for me, because at the end of the day, when I'm presenting a loan to our credit committee, I have to say, hey, this is how this customer makes money. This is what could potentially go wrong. This is how they've weathered the storm in the past. And this is the safeguards that this customer has in place. And in order for me to do that, I really have to understand the intricacies of businesses. And so I've done things from investment portfolios to I just did an analysis on a swim school, and I have another one that's coming up that's a totally brand new concept for a franchise that doesn't even exist in Arizona yet. And so
exciting.
It's super cool. And so I get to spend a lot of time really trying to analyze it and trying to understand their businesses, and that I would say is my favorite part and what gets me up in the morning.
So you get to do something that not a traditional banker gets to do. You actually get to relate to that person. You get to really maybe sit down and have conversations about their business, and people love to talk about themselves and what they're doing.
They really do.
So, but at the same point, it really does help you understand like what their business model is, how you can help them, if you can help them, and maybe there's some things that they hadn't thought of that you can bring up to the plate.
I find that is more the case because I come at it with hey, I don't understand your business, so I'm going to ask you some questions that may sound foolish. And it's because I've never talked to someone in your position before. And so your job is to educate me.
Exactly.
Tell me everything that I would need to know about your business, how it works, how it functions, and then I can be your advocate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, That is what we have for our show today. Phillip, thank you so much for sharing with us and telling us a little bit about yourself and Comic-Con and your family, as well as Canyon Community Bank. I know I learned a lot, and I am sure our listeners did as well. That is all we have for Connecting Tucson with Jamie, coming to you live from the Tucson Convention Center at the inaugural Arizona Film Expo. That's why we have a little bit of noise here, but it's fun. You can learn more about Phillip Sullivan and Canyon Community Bank by going to TucsonBusinessRadioX.com and clicking on Connecting Tucson with Jamie. As always, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and make a new connection. You never know where it might lead. Until next time, keep on making unique connections, Tucson. See you later.